Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the last Saturday night of 2021. Oh dear, it's going to be a long night, everybody. From your church down in Poole in Dorset, just bringing everybody together just to say hello, celebrate the end of this year, get ready for the festive season, and maybe have a little few thoughts for next year. Please bring any questions or anything you just want to discuss. Please pop those into the comments box. It's very free form tonight. We'll be doing different things and just having a bit of fun because we can. So hello, Eva. Hello, Susan. If you're in the room, shout out. Been an absolutely beautiful day over here in the UK. And now that cold tab has come in. Wonder who that is. We've got some people hanging around in our green room. I don't know who they are. Who are they? Just to give you a clue. Who could this be? It's the wonderful Jack!
Oh,
Jack
no.
from Denmark. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you, sir?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good, Lawrence. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you for dropping in. But there is also somebody else hanging around in our green room. I don't know who this is. I'll give you a little bit of a clue here, a musical clue, everybody. See how good you are.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
And it's the lovely Ron Cox from Florida. Yay!
Hello,
Good
everyone.
evening.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Welcome.
Hope everyone is well.
Sorry, dear?
I said I hope everyone is well.
Yes, we're all hunkering down over here, just having a little bit of fun. So, gentlemen, thank you again for your time, spending it with us tonight. So appreciate this. What a year. What a year. Where do we start? Well, we started in the UK here. We started on a bit of a bum note. We had yet another lockdown, which affected everybody. What about you, Mr. Cox? How did your year start over there in Florida?
Oh, it's been rolling lockdowns. This state's locked down. This state's open. It's all over the place. It's all over the place. And now, unfortunately, we had the Omicron starting to set in, and everybody's afraid. But why live in fear?
Yeah.
Live with spirit.
Yeah, I was having that discussion today with people. We can't keep living in fear like this. How about you, wonderful Jack? How did your year get off to a start?
Oh, so far we don't have that hard lockdown. Like pubs and nightclubs have to stop serving alcohol after 10, and luckily the zoos and things are closing from tomorrow, so I'm free tonight, so that's lucky. I came out of the cave because no audience anyway, so
well, that's good news then, Jack.
Yes.
From our point of view as spiritualists, what are any thoughts on where we are at this time, and this whole situation? Is there any spiritual aspects you'd like to share?
Go ahead, Jack.
Well,
You know your friends are, Jack.
spiritual aspect, but I think it's kind of saddened me the situation that is now from a spiritual point of view to see how many people that were supposed to be spiritual and full of love and light, how they are nagging each other and things like that. And as mentioned, I believe a lot of it comes out of fear, one way or another. But it's like, wow. Sometimes I think there's been people that have really surprised me in their way of talking to other people, looking at other people, and things like that. But I do have a great hope that will change with the daylight, so to speak, as we are coming to the shortest day. But it's. But I believe what we can do is just try to stay positive and just don't get involved with in these debates, discussions, and things like that. I know for myself, I keep myself out of it. Sometimes I can throw a comment, but I'm really aware of how I phrase myself at these times as a spiritualist, definitely. And it's just surprised me, basically. But I think a lot of this fear, we can see we have just managed to finish our last Christmas service the other day, just before the restrictions came in for Christmas. And we can see the lower numbers at the Christmas service compared to what we used to be before the lockdown. We have only about 1/3 of the audience that we normally would have for those services. So it's so I think it's back to more online and things like that again. But I'm still quite positive, because one of the good things is that we have been out and around and actually meeting people, and those people we have met out there, those people that have joined the services, that have come with a positive mind, that have come with that belief in everything is going to be good, and that has been a great experience to meet those people and actually have make me want to do more coming out, and that we're going to start that at one of the first things in the new year.
Brilliant. Yeah. How about you, Mr. Cox?
Well, I see a lot of the same over here, Jack. There's a lot of people living in fear, including in the spiritual movement over here. There's still a lot of people just operating in that basic fear. In my classes, I've noticed one of the most popular questions is, why has spirit left me? People actually think spirit leaves them. Well, spirit never leaves us. It's us that leaves spirit. And it's turning their eyes back to spirit so they can see it again and helping grasp onto that little bit of hope that they so desperately need, and just helping them lift up that way. Even my clients, I've noticed there's a lot of fear out there. Just, I think I want to say, is it fear or is it just uncertainty? Because we've all been given so many different stories. There's just, what do we believe anymore? And when we're trapped in this fear, we feel like all these four walls are around us and we're just boxed in and we can't see past that wall. But as I'm getting my students to turn and look towards spirit more, I'm also noticing more and more hope in them in every class we have. So I personally feel like we're starting to come out of this. And I really feel that because of all of this, people are looking at their lives in a much different aspect now. Not so much the conformity of religion, but more the openness of spiritualism. We're seeing that really start to rise here, because the churches, even before the pandemic, the churches were down a good 30-40% here, and they've been declining over the decades more and more so. So I think people are grasping more onto the idea of spiritualism.
That is a very, very pertinent point. Very quickly here, we have the lovely Tim Abbott joining us. He says, I know Jack is doing a great job in educating people in Denmark as to the reality of the spirit world. Thank you, Tim. Good evening, Tim. How are you, sir? Bill Rich has just jumped in there. Don't forget, people, you do have invites to join us live online if you so wish. But yeah, you've both said to me, the way I'm listening to it, the same thing, that people are... If I go back in time to 2020, halfway through 2020, I found myself saying to people, you know what, this is getting biblical now. All these events that are going on, this is just like, the Old Testament stuff that's going on. And not a lot of people disagreed with that. But what I feel we are seeing is nothing's being left hidden anymore. Everything's coming to the surface in every aspect of the world, be it the politicians, the leaders, the businesses, whatever. But for our movement, I think that, yes, spiritualism has really sort of like come to the fore more now in people's minds. And also, again, people, I do not have a thing against evidential mediumship, but spiritualism offers more than that. And people have been coming back to churches and centres over here in the UK and not feeling that love that they used to, because we've all changed. And I keep saying to people, people who say, oh, I wanted to get back to normal. Well, it can't, because we're all 2 years older. So that normal has gone and we have changed.
But I think we're like a turtle. We've all withdrawn into our shell for protection. I don't know what it's like over there, but over here these days, you're afraid to talk to anybody about anything. And you really only have a conversation with those that you've known for a very long time. You don't want to be judged.
Yeah.
People are afraid of being judged for being one thing or another over here. And I just feel like people are just retracting into their shell.
Somebody described this time, actually, and compared it to the 40 days and 40 nights out in the desert. And I thought, actually, that's quite a good allegory. Yeah. Because we have all faced our dark sides, our shadow selves, whatever the terminology sits well with you. We have all faced that thought and that prospect of either leaving behind physically the ones we're with at this time, or them leaving us behind. And that has been a real crucial thing with people. But I have found, well, speaking for here at Paul Church, we have gained so many new people coming in, which has been absolutely wonderful, because people are coming in with a really investigative mind and wanting to learn more, understand more. Whereas prior to that, we, along with a lot of other churches and centres, we just offered the same dish every week. It's like going to a restaurant every week and always having the house special. But now the menus are changing, and people are actually really engaging with that because the mind's stimulated now. There is that craving. I want to understand what's going on. I want to try and find peace. I want to find something that I can get my teeth into, that I can relate to, and is not the stale doctrines of, do as I say, not as I do, which a lot of the orthodoxy is offered previous to that. But yeah, it's really interesting. Jack, very quickly, sir, how is your getting the recognition for spiritualism in Denmark as a recognized religion? How's that coming along, sir?
That's a very, very good question, Lawrence. It is the application has been put in 4 years ago, and it has been twice before what they call the council. And now it has. In May, it was at the council again, and came back to the church ministry with a recommendation of to recognize spiritualism as a religion. And at this moment, it is in the ministry, and we're just waiting for them just to sign the papers. But a public administration, that's like I said last year about this time. I believe and I hope it would came before Christmas. I can say that again this year, but I won't put any year on. That's it's a little bit like a treadmill. It's just waiting, and hopefully I'm gonna give them a call on Monday just to say, hey, how are you doing? How is things going on? I know the lady that used to be our contact in the ministry, she has stopped working there now, so it's another one. Mm-hmm. That's the what I know. So she probably, I don't know, just trying to get in all the cases she have got on her desk. I don't know, but it's a bit of a pain. But I'm positive that we'll have it soon, if not before Christmas this year, before Christmas next year.
Okay, there's a nice wide caveat.
Okay, so, may I say I'm surprised. Spiritualism is not recognized in Denmark.
In a lot of Europe, Ron, and this is
really?
One of the things. Yeah, huge.
Wow, that blows me away.
Well, it's safe for us in the UK because of the advent of this going online and meeting up with wonderful people like the lovely Jack. Is Lola around tonight? Jack?
No, Lola is not. She's Christmas shopping.
She's Christmas. Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's not until the advent of this online experience that we found out how much of Europe, as spiritualism is not a recognized religion, therefore they cannot have churches. Yeah. So, wow. And it was a bit of a wake-up call for us in the UK to, where I'm sat here physically at the moment, within a 7-mile radius, there are 4 other churches. And now you're talking, go transpose that over to Europe, and for 400 miles around you, there are no churches. Wow. So Jack's work of getting it recognized as a religion will then lead on to the creation and establishment of spiritualist churches in the country of Denmark, which will be an awesome step forward. Absolutely awesome step forward.
Well, I wish you the best.
Thanks.
I just can't even fathom that. This is 2022, and they don't recognize that. I mean, we're over here. They recognize everything.
Yeah, but it's. I think the case is that nobody have put in an application before. Basically, it's recognized in Norway. I think that's the only European, besides from UK, that it's recognized in Norway. So it's
wow.
and I know that have been for, but I think it's for 10 or 12 years in Norway now at this moment, and they have started to getting more churches and things like that around in Norway. But we are really in the very new beginning.
I'm just still blown away by that. I'm just amazed. I mean, even through Lawrence and working with the church, I've met people from all over the place. That's why I thought it was so rampant.
Yeah,
Spiritualism was so rampant through Europe, because after my last broadcast with you, I was contacted from people all over Germany. I got Austria. I got France. Even Australia. I was like, okay, well, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but
my mind's. Oh, sorry,
we'll
Jack.
get there. So
My mind's still struggling to cope with the image of a rampant spiritualist, but we'll move on from that. Where are you? Lovely Arisha, bless her heart, just coming in there. Newton Abbot, which is it's miles away,
awesome.
is sort of like the deep south of the UK, if you can understand that wrong. She's just saying they got lots of new and younger people attending, and very true, it's reflected here at Poole. There is a new generation of people, inquiring minds, and and we've got to be there to step up and answer the questions the best we can.
Yeah, I have a few children in my class, and let me tell you, their mediumship blows me away. I'm like struggling to keep up with them because they are so unbelievably naturally in tune, and they get right into that source immediately, and they're delivering messages like machine guns. It's just blah 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 blah, and these kids are just this new frame of mind. They're just so open to everything. It's amazing.
Would that be in part due to the freshness of the approach, i.e., not having been brought up and become accustomed to church services and seeing how other mediums work? So therefore, I suppose that would become a guide to how you would let your mediumship work, rather than just going throwing away the rule book and going, use me. I want to get the highest and the best. Just use me, and then allow it to flow. Mm-hmm. There's an interesting thought. John Pugsley there. He's living in Denmark and he's thankful for the online churches. Yes, John. The online proliferation of churches and Zoom events has been awesome, and it's here to stay. It really is. Avieta. Apparently, Jack's password is patience.
Yeah.
Tim Abbott here. Not only is spiritualism not recognized in some countries, media mystical practices are illegal. For example, in Austria, healing is still illegal.
Wow. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah. So, we are...
Add to that, in Germany, demonstrating mediumship has not been allowed for many years. It is now. It was allowed to do it some years ago, but it's like they had to call it something else.
Huh.
Yeah, and I can't remember what it was called because a friend of mine in Germany, they go somewhere and it's not advertised. It's all a little bit, sort of like undercover. They go somewhere miles away from anywhere and they have the demonstration, and then afterwards they may talk about it, but beforehand you don't hear a thing about it. So lovely Heidi here from America. Yeah, can't believe that spiritualism is not recognized in most of continental Europe. Hello, Heidi. How are you, darling? Lovely to see you. What about our thing now with the online spiritualism? You know, I've been a great exponent of it, and I'm fascinated how it works, both as a medium and for the church's point of view. My opinion is it's very much here to stay. It's never going to go away. But I wonder how much of a change we're going to see in that. What changes would you like to see coming in with some of the online works, if any? Don't be shy.
Well, I typically prefer one-on-one. I will do online messages, but I do prefer that one-on-one connection. And I'm actually going to be doing a church service coming up in March via Zoom. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be interesting, but I'm still that person that wants to meet you one-on-one. You know,
Yeah.
I like that intimate connection between two souls.
Yeah. No, I fully get that. In fact, Bill, if you're still in the room, we were talking about this earlier on. A few people are now looking at moving over to Zoom because the situation, you know, we've had 2 years of unsettlement and it doesn't look like it's getting any better any soon.
Right.
So there's a few people now looking more to work online, whereas we've resisted it beforehand. What about you, Jack? Because you really take the bull by the horn. I love your services from the Spiritual Association of Denmark. They are wonderful.
Thank you, Lawrence. I believe that the online mediumship, the online services is come to stay. I know we will continue with them anyway, and but it will. There will be not as often when we can get more out to do the physical services again. And I, like you, Ron, I really love to be with a living audience instead of on the screen. But I have to admit that working like on Zoom, especially on Zoom with the mediumship, has done so many good things as well. One thing is for my own, and I know from other fellow mediums for our own mediumship, a different kind of closeness with spirit, because we don't have the congregation, the energy from the congregation to work with. So we have to really to work the energy in a different way, and really need to have spirit closer, especially when like me working as an evidential medium. You know, it's like I don't know, when we did the first, it was like, oh my, can we really do this, and all these things. But I have to admit that over those nearly 2 years now, it has changed my mediumship, and I could feel now when we have been out doing services with services on occasion. Again, that difference to suddenly standing there in front of people, feeling all their energy, or feeling all the emotions and all these things, you just have to change your mindset back to that again. But it's been lovely. But basically, I would have swore 2 years ago I'm never gonna do online. Now I can tell you I will continue doing online, because it's one thing is that is what it has done for my mediumship, but another thing is what it has done for me as a person, and I believe for people sitting around there that never would have joined a church or service or even a dem and anything, because I have had it delivered at home in their living room. They have joined these services. They have joined the dems, and they have been become familiar with with mediumship, with spiritualism and all these things. And like Risha and yourself, Lawrence, talks about, you see a younger congregation coming in now in the churches, and I believe that's a part of the online thing, because we have to admit younger people is maybe more to the online thing. So I believe that to get more and more young people in working online is a really good thing in that aspect as well there. So I think there's so many different point of views in it. So I'm just excited how the future is going to form spiritualism, forms mediumship in a combination of doing online events as well as online events as well as on location events, and maybe even the combination, as I know some churches has done, that have big screen in church and the mediums have a living audience and the screen and interaction with both. I think that's brilliant. It's just open up the churches and services in many ways to reach out to people that for different reasons are not able to join. It can be because of distance, because of disabilities and things. And as we just talked about, spiritualism is not that common around in the world as it is in the UK, as it is in the States.
Yeah. I have seen a couple of services now where they work between people online and people actually in the church. I have a bit of an issue over this, and this is me. Call me old-fashioned, but my greatest respect is to the people who actually get up, get washed, get dressed, get in their car, drive down it, and physically come into the church for the medium just to work with them. Also, and people like it or lump it, the people sat here in the church are the ones that are putting donations in the plate, which enables the church to continue.
Right.
I was watching one service online, 6 messages, 4 of them went online and only 2 to the congregation in church. Now, had that been me as a congregation member, I'll be honest, I would be a little bit miffed. I have dragged my sorry backside all the way down there, and they're talking to people online. But that is just me where I come from.
But I truly understand that, Lawrence. But you have just told us you just became 2 years older as well. So a bit old-fashioned.
Listen, just I don't really... Now then.
What I wanted to say is I do agree with you in that point, and it's but I believe there's ways to find around it, basically.
Yeah.
You can't get a message before you donate something,
We'll be
unfortunately,
Ron, carry on.
I'm sorry.
Get in there, Ron. You won't get a chance otherwise. I'll tell you
right? Take a breath, you UK. Take a breath. Unfortunately, down here in South Florida, we don't have a spiritualist church anymore. We lost it a couple of years ago, and really, it is all online now. And even the church that I'm going to be speaking with is going to be online, but it's almost 50 miles away from me. So our big churches we've lost. And that connection, I have to do it all online. So Googling everything.
Yeah. So, time for some comments. Sorry, everybody. Thank you. Gosh, you're busy out there today. Quick question here from Sue Townsend. Do you feel that using technology to connect with people throughout the world is helping to reduce some of the taboos which linger around spiritualism? That's a resounding yes, Sue.
Yeah, yes, it is. I just, with all these new groups out there, you just really need to find which one resonates with you the most.
Indeed, because the variety,
you know, another teacher of mine have said, when you're looking for a teacher, don't just look for someone to teach, but actually go in and listen to them, listen to their voice. Does their voice resonate with you? If their voice resonates with you, you're basically going to listen to every single word they say, whether it be online or in person. And if it doesn't resonate with you, well, you're not going to get anything out of that class. Again, whether it's via technology or rather you're in person. So the teachings of spiritualism, you can get it any way you want to. Anywhere, you just got to make sure that the teacher lines up with what your spiritualism is all about.
Very true. Yeah, very true. And also your understanding and the question of why do you want whatever? Why do you want to develop to be a medium? Why do you want to develop to be a healer? Why do you want to develop your spirit portrait, spirit artist side?
Well, I really don't think I have a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, I just had Dad walk through my house the other day, and I looked at my husband, and he's like, "You just saw another person." I said, "Yes, another spirit person just walked through our house."
I freaked the builder out. We were in the kitchen, stood there talking, and I was getting ready to work. And as I was talking to him, somebody was stood to the side, and I just glanced. He went, "What are you doing?" I went, "Nothing." He went, "There's somebody there, isn't there?" And I said, "Yeah." "Why?" I said, "Because I'm getting ready to work and I'm opening up." No. And as he said, no, there was this enormous crack out of nowhere in the kitchen. He went, "What was that?" And I said, "Well, I think somebody on the other side disagrees with you." I said, "Anyway, I need to get to work." He was absolutely like, I'm surprised he came back.
I think my husband was fine until my dogs looked at the spirit person walking through my house. I think that's what flipped him out the most.
I had a memory pop up on Facebook from last year, and it reminded me, Charlie, my black cat, was sat in the lounge, and he looked at the door, followed somebody around, and then did his lift up head, having a fuss, and there's nobody there. And the person sat with me was going, "I'm getting out of here. You're weird. You're a freak."
But you know what? I love being weird.
Bill Rich popping in. People are beginning to realize they can find spirit and get recognition of spirit online, like Ron. But like Ron, I would prefer one-to-one. Yeah. I think you can't beat a one-to-one in-person reading. I think, and I found with my one-to-ones, they've changed. The evidence is there, but a whole ream of a new layer of stuff is coming through, and I was quite surprised by that. Thankful. But yeah. And it's really talking with the spirit now, where they are now in that life between lives.
Right. Yeah.
And I found that fascinating. Kelly Burns in Canada, and starting your mediumship development. Well, congratulations, Kelly. I hope everything goes wonderfully well for you. There's not many spiritualist churches in Canada, and it's hard to find authentic teachers and teachings. I'm thankful for this platform. Online has been a lifesaver. You bring up a very good subject there, Kelly, because I have this underlying energy that Zoom will be a magnificent teaching aid for people and will really reach out and enable you to come to some absolutely awesome tutors and mentors who are available out there, whereas before physicality would have denied your ability to go and see them. So what do you think, gents, as a teaching aid on Zoom?
I think it's excellent. I'm getting ready to go into really in-depth study for a year with actually one of the UK teachers. And it's going to be a really in-depth course, and it's all going to be online. Why can't we learn online? You know, why not? Yes, the practice sessions will be online, you know, and it's although I do like the one-on-one, it is teaching me a new way to connect with that energy. You know, so I taught my class expansion versus expectation. Learn to expand with spirit versus expecting what spirit should do. Because once you start expecting what spirit should do, you're putting resistance to spirit and stopping spirit from coming in. Versus if you're in a mind where it's expanding constantly, where you're just giving your room more and more room for yourself to gain more and more and more knowledge, versus expecting it to come in through spirit.
That is really good philosophy. I like that, because one of the things working online has opened up my eyes to the more and more the limitless power of spirit. When I've actually been working mediumistically online, they're there. And I never used to get that on platform, but they're there. I'm like, get out of my living room.
Well, even when we're setting with someone, now we're only human. We know spirit's going to show up for them. Or, you know, what are we expecting to show up? Because the person that we may be expecting to show up may not show up at all, because it may need to be this other person to give them the message, the spirit person. So expecting this one to come in when actually this one does may stop this one from coming in.
Yeah, you do see that a lot. Jack, you're unnaturally quiet. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree, and I believe that like the Zoom teaching and other online platforms can be really good teaching tools. Especially Zoom, I have worked a lot with Zooms where you have the breakout rooms. You can set people in pairs. You can do everything. You go around and look at them like you were in the church or in the center or something like that. So that's a really, really great tool, and it gives an opportunity to those that is not nearby a center or a church or somebody that can teach him. I have to say, what we have to be aware of, though, is what the online teaching can give us so much, no doubt about it. But in my experience, it's like when we have been taught online, if we have only had online teaching, we can have a bit of a shock when we're getting out to living people, like to standing on a platform and things, because it's different energies, different emotions. So it's just that the online teaching is wonderful, but we just have to be aware that it won't make a complete medium, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You know, are we going to see just online mediums developing who do not go out into the real world, and vice versa? Are those out in the real world who will not go on to online?
Yeah.
Obviously, not one size fits all, but I think one of the key elements, though, is understanding the prospectus of where you're going to learn anything to do with spiritualism or your own spirituality, and actually doing a little bit of research on it, because I've seen some things advertised and I've just recoiled in absolute shock.
Oh, yes.
There was a physical teaching, and the criteria was you had to be on your own, sat in the dark, just with the screen on. And I'm like, I find that not correct for me, to have somebody sat on their own hundreds of miles away from the teacher. And you know, and then there's, what was the other one? You can go and view your Akashic records and change them if you didn't like them. I'm like, really?
Unfortunately, it does open up the wrong aspect.
Yeah. So you get your spiritual Tipex out.
That's why I say you got to really, if you're going to do it online, you really have to research who your teacher is, what are their accreditations, what is their experience. And you're right, Jack, that learning how to be a medium online does not necessarily teach you how to give messages in person.
Yeah.
You know, and I think when you're in person, more of your authentic self is shown.
Yeah, because about 98% of communication is in your body language. It's not in the spoken word.
Well, I know when they blend with me fully, I end up taking over some of their movements that they would do, their hand gestures, their facial gestures, the way I sound. But that's a complete blend. You know, and how are they going to teach you how to completely blend online?
Yeah. And also, when you go out in person, you've got to wear trousers, which is hugely annoying. But
in Florida, I wear shorts.
Oh, okay. And in Denmark, we wear animal skins or something, long johns, and a
I don't know, Thor.
Talking of wonderful teachers, lovely Tim Abbott, who's an absolute star. Going back to the subject about Zoom services, is to use PowerPoint presentation to support the address. Good idea, Tim. Yeah, that is possible. Also, with PowerPoint, you can create little videos, which I've had great fun with. So as an introduction to our Zoom services, there's a few screens, some of the history of spiritualism, a bit about healing, and just using that opportunity to just promote spiritualism while people are waiting for the event to start. But yeah, definitely. Stephen Trolland's watching. Good evening, Mr. Trolland. We hope you're well. Another fine teacher.
Hello, Stephen.
Bill Rich. Oh, here we go. Do you think that the word church puts people off going to church, but Zoom, etc., takes away that stigma?
Wow, that's a really good question.
I think Bill's thrown it in just to really irritate me because I do have a passion about that one.
Well, you know, just what's going on in our country, I could understand that. People have an aversion to the word church just because of what's happened in our country with churches and stuff. So
yeah,
I can see that. You know, but I don't know if Zoom really takes that completely away, you know, for the stigma. I don't know that.
Jack, what do you think, sir?
Yeah, I'm not sure if Zoom is taking that stigma away, but I think it's not only the word church, but I met people that's talking about when we're using the word God and these words that people are, when people is not within the spiritualism already, that put words like church, God, and things, but they put that into Christianity and not into spiritualism, and I think that's a part of it. Of that stigma. I don't think Zoom is. It might loosen it up a little bit. And as we talked about the Zoom room, the online things can invite people in without they have to go through the doors of a church. So I believe that can take a part of it away. But I think that's what I usually say to people when people are saying, "Oh, when you use church, like the word church, the services, the God, and these frames," I just I have to say that, well, but God is part of our belief system within the spiritualism, but we are not defining God to anyone because of the personal responsibility. We have to define God ourselves. And the same with church. The church is just a house where we can meet God, where we can meet Spirit, where we can meet each other for that sake. I think if we are looking at the words as a single word, I think sometimes to putting some words around, more words as sentences around the words that is putting the stigma in, we can loosen up that stigma.
Mm. I something I've noticed, and rightly or wrongly, within our movement, and I'm sure this reflects in other religions and other philosophies, that we do tend to latch on too much to the negative. You know, people say, "Oh no, I don't go to church," you know, so everybody runs around trying to create a center and drop the word church, you know. And I'm more of the belief of saying, you know, work with what you've got. Like here, we are a church, and yes, I do get a few people, "Oh no, I don't do church," and go, "That's fine, absolutely fine. If you don't do church, that's brilliant." But I concentrate on the people who do church, and I think that's probably it's just an idiosyncrasy of mine. But I can be very pedantic, in case you have never noticed. But the people who do come to church have all their beliefs are respected, and everybody works in harmony and unison. Like any family, every now and then we may have a slight difference of opinion, and we do our best to resolve that. But I don't think that if somebody is that het up and will not go to somewhere because it's called a church, that is absolutely fine. That's their pathway.
Right.
And I'm not going to be out there trying to dissuade them or change their course or whatever. That is their pathway, and I fully respect that, and that's fine. Absolutely fine. The lovely Tim Abbott here. What is the definition of the word church? Surely it is a gathering of people in worship to a deity. Isn't that what we're doing online?
Yes.
Yeah. I do think people get too hung up on words at times.
Yes, when you say that word, what image comes to your mind? The four walls, the sanctuary, the rules and regulations that go along with it.
Mm.
I mean, I was born and raised Southern Baptist, so that was pretty intense as a child, you know. So yeah, when I hear the word church, flags go up with me. And I mean, I was ostracized for being who I am. And so red flags go up with me, and I understand. And yes, wherever people gather, you know, whether it be online or in somebody's house, yes, you could call it church. Or you could call it a fellowship gathering.
Yeah.
You know, or we could call it a spiritualist center. You know,
I think to go back to what you were talking about earlier there, Ron, about expectation v expansion.
Yes.
And I think if more people got that philosophy of expansion and go somewhere to try it without other people's or their own experience clouding that judgment, to walk in the doors and see what you get. And if you like it, great. If you don't like it, great. At least you tried it. Arisha brings up a very valid point. Bless your heart, Arisha. The church is the people who come through the doors, not the building or the centre. And that is so true. So true. Colin Moore Hill asking a question. Ooh. No, not that one. It's an earlier question. Where are you? God, people are very busy out there typing away. Oh, yes, it is that one. Having been in churches for a few years now with very varied abilities on display, how would you suggest he gets a deeper understanding of the philosophy of spiritualism?
I think that's an ongoing debate, isn't it?
Right.
In how can I put it? To me, I think we have to understand that with the philosophy of spiritualism, bringing the philosophy forwards, it's part of, to me, it's part of the mediumship. It's mediumship as well as evidential mediumship. There's a philosophical mediumship there. And I'm a great believer. I know Anne-Marie Bond is doing this Facebook group where they're doing these philosophy. Well, I can't say the word now.
Philosophical
gathering where they have a guest speaker and people can join in, like an open platform and things like that. That's a great way to explore the philosophy. Of course, you can read books, you can do a lot of things,
Right.
but I think for me, what have done to me, what actually brought me into the spiritualism wasn't mediumship. It was, but what helped me there and awakened my deep interest of spiritualism was when I recognized the philosophy within it, not only from the 7 principles, but the philosophy within the mediumship and all these things. So to me, it's a very personal thing, how to get that deeper understanding. I believe that we have different pathways. I don't think we can give a certain answer on that. But to explore the philosophy, of course, we can read the books about the philosophy behind the spiritualism, but to explore it through our own experiences has, to me, been a very important part of it.
Very true. What about you, sir, Mr. Cox?
Well, again, before I ever started this, yes, I was having all my abilities on display, like Colin says. I didn't even understand what it was until I started getting into classes. And then once I got into classes, I wanted a deeper understanding of where all this is coming from. I needed history. So I went back and studied some of the older mediums, psychics, Gordon Higginson, what's Mary Harding, or I can't even think of her name now.
Emma Harding Britton.
Yes, thank you. She wrote the 7 Principles, and I've studied on her. A great way is also the Pioneer Journal.
Yes.
It does a lot of history teaching in there, and Paul Gaunt is incredible. His writings are amazing, and even though it may just give me a little bit of information, it gives me enough information that I can pick that up and go research even more, because that just resonated through my soul. Now I need to understand it even deeper. So that's how I learned the philosophy of spiritualism, is through Paul. Because I mean, they didn't go that deep at Arthur Finley, but again, like Jack, spiritualism is very personal. It's what you have to figure out what really, ignites within your soul.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I know.
If I could just add there, now Ron is talking about some of the early pioneers and things, and if we going beyond them, going about 100 years earlier, we have like Emanuel Swedenborg, the Swedish scientist that did a lot of inspired writing and things. He's worth looking up as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true. My first circle leader told me I've got to go out and really work on my philosophy. So I do remember going through all these books and going, rubbish. Oh, God, you're having a laugh, aren't you? And doing all that. And it took a couple of years for it to actually sink in that your philosophy is exactly that, is your philosophy. It's not got an end point.
Oh.
You know, we're trying to get to the end point of things all the times, where actually it's the journey. And as the journey grows and evolves with you, with your connection with the spirit world, you know, I sit there and have fascinating conversations and different conversations with spirit on different subjects. There is not one answer. There's all these different points of view, and it is absolutely engrossing. So getting back to you, Colin, there with your philosophy, where can you get a deeper understanding? Well, over the next 36 years, I'll give you that, Colin, because I know how old you are. You will get a deeper understanding. And then guess what? You'll get an even deeper understanding after that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come back, you'll continue. So... But it's an unfoldment within. It's a journey, and it is beautiful when you engage with it.
Do you all know what a Slinky is?
Yeah.
Okay, a child's toy is Slinky. I call spiritualism the spiral of the Slinky. Because what you think you've learned, you're going to come around, it's going to come around again, and you think you've already learned this in your teachings, and now it's coming up again to where you get even a better understanding of that teaching.
Yeah.
And then you're going to spiral around even more, and guess what? That's going to come back in again, and now you're ever going to have a third point of view. Okay, and it's constantly going to go up your Slinky of life, and you're always going to be coming into. He's trying to understand philosophy. Well, philosophy is going to come back to you again, Colin, and it's going to keep coming back to you again. The desire for the philosophy is going to come back as you get a deeper and deeper and deeper understanding of it, and that's going to build your depth.
Yeah, that is very, very true. I think one of the dangers people engage upon, they are looking for the final answer.
Yes.
And the trouble with the final answer, you then negate everything else in creation, and so it can't happen. They want that definitive answer, that it, right. That is the nadir, that is the point. And it's understanding you're never going to get that, because what was it? Really old book. There are as many schools of thought in the spirit land as there are stars in the sky, and they're all right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They're all correct. And I just love that. Tim Abbott here. Definition of philosophy is one's own truth. And if you could recommend to Colin, who asked the question, meditate and contemplate on their spiritual truth. Yes, good advice there, Tim. Arisha, I like it when the medium gives the philosophy from their heart channeled by spirit rather than from something they are reading, although I recognize the need for study. It's very true. We've got a couple of wonderful mediums who write their philosophy down, and I keep encouraging them, let go. Just do it one day. Let go and let them talk, because if you sit there and read something, it becomes a bit stinted. It comes over a bit stinted. But if you just start talking and really let them draw close and put the words into your mouth, it flows like a river, and it is awesome.
And sometimes you don't even have to put the words in your mouth. The words just flow through you. And as you stand back afterwards and look at it, I'm thinking, I've done this several times. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
I've never heard this before. Where did it? Well, where did it come? It only could come from one place, and that's spirit.
Yeah. I love it when I get a turn of phrase or something pops in, which is not my turn of phrase. Like you were saying earlier, you pick up the gestures and things and the body language. I will say something and there'll be a couple of words in there and think, oh, not my words. So I like that.
Right.
But in the early days, I used to work in engineering. So you can imagine the language was a bit ribald, shall we say. And in the early days, I'd be in the flow and then suddenly I'd drop out of the energy and suddenly become aware of the congregation looking at me. And every time I just thought, what have I just said?
Right?
What have I just said? Have I just gone into work mode?
Somebody's asked me, could you repeat that again? And I'm like, no.
I really can't. I really can't. The lovely Sarah Jane, who is an absolute delight to know and a wonderful attendee here at Poole Church, just saying, must admit the word church was a bit scary, as was the word Christian. From someone coming from a pagan background, I didn't realise that all other religions were welcome, unlike the church that I was brought up in, which was quite insular. Yeah, I get it. I do get it with people that they have good reason that when the word church through personal experience, I do understand that and I do respect that greatly. Where I tend to stumble a little bit is when people just glibly, oh no, it's church. Oh, I don't do church. Why? I just don't do church. I don't do organized religions. And I'm just like, okay. Fine, don't expect everything to morph around your point of view now because it's not going to.
No, but there's going to come a time in your life where you wish you had.
Exactly.
I was reading from one of Reverend Sally Knuckles' things today, the last words from an atheist. And it had all of them there. Napoleon Bonaparte was, oh Lord, oh God, why did I doubt you so fervently? So they realized it at the very end.
Yeah, and in the world wars, it's a very common expression, the foxhole conversion.
Yes.
And I think, the churches and centres really need to up their game. As you can see, I can't do it, behind me, we actively welcome kiddies into the church. Because I always say, if you get children into the church at a certain age, all right, they're going to get to an age where they go, oh, I don't want to go back to that. That's fine. That's all part of growth and how we evolve on this planet.
Right.
But the fact that they've got a little bit of history there of going to a church, I would like to think that one day later in their life, they're going to be at a place where they think, I want to go to church. Because it's familiar to them. It's not been an alien thing. Because once you start, this is what we do in spiritualism, isn't it? We always sowing seeds of different types. Right. That is our job, Sometimes we see it grow and come to fruition. Other times it may not, or it may be somewhere else. But that is our job. And as I say, I'd like to think, I've had some terrible experiences. Little girl who used to walk around holding her hand while she held the collection plate, introduced me to her husband while she was with a new baby the other day. I was like, oh my God, how old am I? You used to be right there.
But I think if people is keeping their mind open to the church room and just, I know for myself, I love the churches, no matter if it's spiritualism, Christianity, or Catholicism, or whatever it is. But when I'm traveling around, when I see churches, if I have the time, I'll always go and visit the church, no matter what religion it is. Because just the energy in there, the feeling of a special place. but most of them, a lot of it as well is like I know in Stafford, in the middle of Stafford, I know Tim probably know about this little church. Middle of Stafford, there's a little old church from 1100 something. I went in there, and there's the most beautiful wooden carvings and things there in there, like with the green man, all these pagan things as well, caving of that. So sometimes, if we allow ourselves to join those church rooms, we can be really surprised of the things we can explore there, and another local church to here as well. Some of the paintings in the church is not what you would think of in a church. It's just amazing. So it's to me, it's about have your mind open and just trying to explore it.
Yeah, and I think a great tool in opening up. When I'm one of 4 boys, and when we were about 12, 13, Mum used to say to all of us, "You're going to church." And we go, "What church?" She went, "I don't care, just go to a church. But you will be going to a church." And so we all did our own thing, and took ourselves off to church. And I'm really, really grateful for that experience, because it did. When I got older, church didn't hold a fear for me. It wasn't an alien concept whatsoever, and I wasn't clouded by other people's perceptions. Me and my brothers actually were altar boys, and we were stopped being altar boys because we had a fight when we were swinging the incense. We decided we were playing conkers instead. So, but never mind.
Well, that didn't last long.
No. Yeah, I don't see a great future in that religion. But yeah, gentlemen, you know what? Thank you. As I said, tonight was totally free form. I'm so blessed that we've had some lovely people join us tonight. You two gentlemen for giving up your time. There's Ron out there, and what's the weather like in Florida, Ron? Make us jealous.
Well, it's about, let me check. Well, it's 80 degrees. Today, this morning, it's been partly cloudy, but the sun is coming out. But otherwise, it's basically been paradise here in South Florida.
Yeah, a bit like in England.
Yeah. 80 degrees, no humidity, just like England.
Yeah, just like England. And Jack's there basking in the Nordic sunlight, I believe.
Oh yeah. It's quite clear out here, and 5 degrees Celsius. So it's quite warm here. It's
That'll get you out of your shorts.
I
Mr.
love
Cox.
that sarcastic Viking attitude.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Everybody watching us online, thank you for joining in. It's been an absolute pleasure doing all these Saturday nights. We're going to have a little
pleasure.
Brilliant. We can have a little bit of a respite here at Poole, but coming back at you in the new year with a new range of Saturday nights. In the meantime, we don't see you online or in person. Everybody have a wonderful Christmas. And just remember, everything in life is a lesson. If you fear it, try to run away from it, or let it dominate you, it becomes something other than what it is. It's all a lesson. And the famous saying of "this too will pass" is very true. So thank you for your support throughout the year. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have a great Christmas. Yeah, and it's not what's around the tree, it's who's around the table that counts.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.